Welcome students. Today we will study second chapter of class 10th Democratic Politics. The name of the chapter is Federalism. In previous session we studied first chapter power sharing with the help of two stories, one from Belgium and other one from Sri Lanka. After that we studied about need for power sharing, and after that various forms of power sharing in modern democracies. And under this topic we studied about horizontal type of power sharing, vertical type of power sharing by social groups, and power sharing by political parties, interest group, movement, etc. Today we will study in detail about the vertical power sharing. Now, what does vertical power sharing mean? That means there should be at least two sets of government, one at central level and other at state level. The role of central government is look after issues of national importance, while the role of state government to look after regional issues. This type of system is not found in all the countries. This type of division of power between center and state is not found in all the countries of the world. It is found only in those countries who have adopted federal system. And India is one of the countries along with USA, Germany, France, Australia. All these countries practice federal system. So today we will study more about federal system or federalism, and firstly we will discuss the meaning, the concept of federalism. I have given you some idea and I will repeat it, that there should be two sets of government and there can be more sets of government as we have in India: center government, state governments and local government, panchayats and municipalities. There is one more system of government known as unitary type of government, which is entirely different from federal type of government. As I have told you that in federation that there are two sets of government, while in unitary type of government there is one set of government. They can create units and subunits for administrative convenience. They can delegate some power, but these units and subunits are subordinate to the central government and any time can be demolished by them. While in federalism, there are at least two sets of government and states are not subordinate to the central government. Now we will study more features of federalism, and I have written these features here on board. You can see these are written here, and the first feature we have already studied, that at least two sets of government should be there. Another feature, that these two sets or more tiers they should have a well-defined, specified jurisdiction. What does jurisdiction mean? Jurisdiction means work area legalized by the Constitution. That means, in simple words, we can say that power between center and states regarding lawmaking, regarding decision making are divided by the Constitution, and they work in their jurisdiction, in their work area without interfering in each other's jurisdiction. This is a very important feature of federalism. Another thing, that is existence of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. That means, in simple words, we can say that center and state government, constitution of these or formation of these two sets of government have been described in the Constitution. Neither center government nor state government or any other authority can demolish it. It since they have been created by the constitution. That is why it is said that it is constitutionally guaranteed. Another thing, that judiciary plays very important role. Why judiciary plays very important role? As we have two sets of government, namely center and state, and there is possibility of conflicts and differences between states, among the states, between center and state. Now, who will solve their problems? Who will decide their issues? Yes, here judiciary has role to play. Judiciary works as an umpire to solve differences between center and states, between states and among the states. And sometimes it happens that certain provisions of constitution are not clear. Now, who will interpret them? Yes, it is judiciary. It is the role of apex court of the country to interpret the provisions of constitution. So that way you can see in a federal system, judiciary plays a very important role. It works as umpire between center and state, between states and among states. Along with it, it interprets the constitution, the various provisions of constitution. Another important feature is that fundamental provisions of constitution cannot be unilaterally amended. Now I will simplify it. It's not a very difficult or complex thing. You have studied the provision of amendment in constitution in class 9th. Let's recap. Constitution, for example, we talk about India. The Indian Constitution came into existence in 1950s. Now, after so many years, there must be some provisions which are obsolete. That means which are not required right now. And there is need of adding some more things as the country is continuously developing, progressing, and number of new things have been introduced. So some changes are required in the constitution, and these changes, when done by the parliament, it is known as amendment. General amendment can be done by parliament, but when it is related, the amendment is related to amend the basic structure of constitution, the consent of both center and state is required. So it means neither state nor center can amend the constitution randomly and unilaterally, and this is very much required in a federal system, as constitution plays very important role, as both the center and states are created by the constitution. Division of power is done by the constitution. So, and the constitution guarantees the existence of these units. So the constitution plays very important in a federal system, and that is why this complex method of amendment has been introduced in federal system. Another thing, when we know that government performs lots of activities and for which money is required, revenue is required, the revenue resources are also divided between center and states. That way, now we can conclude that in federal system, central government acts as an anchor. It tries to unite and integrate the whole country, while state governments addresses regional issues and regional needs. So that way, a federal system is very helpful in those countries, especially which are very large and cannot be governed only from center. Another thing, that those countries, although they are not very big, but if they are diverse in nature, like India is diversity in nature, Belgium there is diversity in nature, federal type of system is more helpful. Now, another topic we will discuss in this session, that balance of power between center and states varies from federation to federation. What does it mean? That means in some federation, centers are more powerful, and in some federation, all the constituent units enjoy equal power. We will discuss why this variation. This variation is because that these federations have been formed in different manners. Now we have to look at the roots through which these federations have been found. Now I will tell you with example. There is one way of formation of a federation is like when some independent states come together and form a federation for security reasons. This type of federation is known as coming together. And USA, Russia, not Russia actually, erstwhile USSR, all these countries have been, or federations have been formed by adopting this root. Root is, what is the root? Coming together. When independent countries wants to form a federation and want to form a bigger unit for security reasons, this type of federation is known as coming together. In this type of federation, all the units generally enjoy equal power. Now, another type of federation is holding together. In holding together type of federation, a big country decides that power will be divided between center and states. Maybe due to they think that they are diverse, they are big, whatever may be the reason, but here the country decides that power will be divided between center and state, and we observe this type of federation in India. This type of federation is known as holding together type of federation. So today we have covered the meaning of federation, federalism, federal system. Along with, we studied about unitary type of system. In unitary type of system, there is only one set of government. And after that, we studied about various other features of federalism, namely two sets of government, specified jurisdiction, existence of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed, fundamental provisions of constitution cannot be amended unilaterally, judiciary acts as an umpire between center and state, along with interprets constitution, division of sources of revenue, and center plays the role of an anchor, and state caters to the needs of different regions. After that, we studied about the two types of federations on the basis of their formation. One route of formation was when two independent countries come together and they decide to form a bigger unit, a bigger federation for security reason. This is known as coming together. Another type of formation was done like holding together when a big country decides that power will be divided between center and state, and India is an example of this. So student, this is all about this session. We will study some more features, some more about federalism in next session. Thank you.